Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, a beautiful princess named Aurora was born to King Stefan and Queen Leia. To celebrate her birth, a grand christening was held, and everyone in the kingdom was invited. The three good fairies Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather arrive to bestow gifts upon the princess. Flora gave Aurora the gift of beauty. Fauna gave her the gift of song, but before Merryweather could give her gift, a powerful and malevolent fairy named Maleficent appeared, furious that she had not been invited. Everyone gasped when the powerful fairy unleashed her fury upon the assembled court. She threatened to avenge this insult by placing a curse upon the infant princess. The king, horrified, rushed forward to try to stop her, but she waved him away dismissively. No one could interfere with her curse. "Listen well," she boomed. "On her 16th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die." The king and queen were horrified, and Merryweather was deeply troubled. With Aurora's life hanging in the balance, what could they do to break this terrible curse? The answer lay with the last remaining fairy, Mary. With one gift still left to give, she stepped forward. She couldn't undo the curse, but she could soften it. Instead of death, she declared that the princess would only fall into a deep sleep, from which she could be awakened by true love's kiss. With that, the fairies disappeared, leaving the royal couple with an impossible choice. How could they protect their baby girl from the curse? They had to hide her away from everything that might awaken her. The king and queen sent her to live in a cottage deep in the forest with the three good fairies who disguised themselves as peasant women. There, hidden from the world, Aurora grew up happy and healthy. For 16 years, the little cottage was filled with laughter as the fairies raised the princess, now named Briar Rose. She was kind, gentle, and loved by the forest creatures. And though she knew nothing of her true heritage, she often dreamed of a handsome stranger she had once sung to in the woods. Little did she know that he was Prince Philip from a neighboring kingdom. But with Aurora's 16th birthday fast approaching, the fairies were getting nervous. The curse's time was running out, and one day, as the three were stirring a pot of stew, their magic accidentally revealed Aurora's identity. Knowing that they had only hours before the curse took hold, they hurried her back to the castle. Meanwhile, Maleficent, sensing Aurora's return, used her dark magic to lure the princess to a high tower where she found a spinning wheel. Unable to resist, Aurora touched the spindle and pricked her finger, fulfilling the curse. She fell into a deep sleep. The three good fairies placed the sleeping princess on a bed and cast a spell over the entire kingdom, putting everyone to sleep until their princess awakened. In the forest, a deer eating berries near the cottage woke up from the spell. Staggering off, he bumped right into Prince Philip, who had come to look for Briar Rose. The two had met briefly 3 years earlier, when he became lost in the woods and she helped him find his way out. They had exchanged names and promised to meet again. But that was before she was cursed. Now, seeing the sleeping princess, he remembered her instantly. Though confused as to why the entire kingdom seemed deserted and asleep, he knew he had to wake her. He leaned down and kissed her. But it did nothing. Startled, he pulled back and watched as the fairies appeared. "She needs a true love's kiss," one of them explained. "But only someone who has never loved before can do that." Philip didn't understand, but he knew he loved Briareos, and that had to count for something. When the fairies explained that only the kiss of a member of the royal family could break the curse, he knew exactly what he had to do. They led him through the sleeping kingdom to his waiting horse. Then, remounting, he urged the animal to hurry on. They had to get to the castle before anyone else. But they weren't the only ones on a mission. Meanwhile, deep in the Dark Kingdom, Maleficent had just learned that Aurora was awake. Enraged that her plan had failed, she transformed into her terrifying dragon form and flew towards the castle. As Philip burst through the gates, he saw the dragon circling overhead. He drew his sword and charged forward. Maleficent roared and opened her jaws to unleash a blast of fire, but the flames only made his resolve stronger. He reached the top of the stairs just as the dragon landed. "So you're the prince," she hissed. "I've been expecting you." Maleficent lunged, and Philip, though frightened, was ready for her. Guiding his horse with one hand, he parried her attack and sliced at her snout. The dragon yelped and reared back, surprised by his boldness. Philip pressed his advantage and slashed at her wings, but she quickly healed. Angered by his intrusion, Maleficent breathed a wall of fire between them, blocking his path. Though desperate, Philip wasn't about to turn back. Taking a deep breath, he spurred his horse forward. Meanwhile, the fairies had reached Aurora's chamber. Just as Maleficent was entering the room, "There's someone here," Flora whispered, hiding behind the bed with her sisters. Suddenly, the door burst open and Maleficent strode inside. Her eyes gleaming with triumph, she had found the princess, but she hadn't noticed the fairies. One of them, unable to bear seeing their princess so helpless, started to cry. Hearing this, Maleficent turned, her eyes flashing. "Who's there?" she demanded. The fairies cowered in the corner as Maleficent approached. Suddenly, the dragon's horn caught the light, and Fauna cried out, remembering something. She grabbed Merryweather's hand and said urgently, "We have to warn the prince." Quickly explaining the situation, she handed her sister a magic bean, telling her to throw it out the window. If it sprouted, then the dragon would be stopped. It was their only chance. Moments later, Philip burst into the room, sword drawn. Maleficent whirled around, snarling, "You again. Just as I thought I'd gotten rid of you." Philip didn't hesitate. He charged forward, sword raised high. Maleficent dodged, sending a bolt of energy at him. He blocked, staggering back. Then she lunged, slashing at him with her claws. Again and again she attacked, and each time he managed to defend himself. Panting heavily, he continued to fight, refusing to yield. Suddenly, he saw something. The dragon wasn't paying attention. Summoning his strength, he lunged, raking his sword along her side. The dragon roared, reeling back. She tried to slash at him, but he rolled away, springing up. Seeing his chance, he dashed forward, snatched the horn from her head, and plunged it into her chest. The dragon shrieked, thrashing wildly. Then, with a final shudder, she collapsed, collapsing into a pile of ash. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Philip turned to see Aurora on the bed. Her breathing was slow and shallow, but she was alive. Kneeling beside her, he looked down and saw the prick of a needle on her finger. Reaching out, he brushed it away, then leaned down and kissed her. His true love's kiss broke the curse, and Aurora's eyes fluttered open. The two stared at each other for a moment. Then she smiled and threw her arms around him. The entire kingdom woke up, and the two lovers celebrated with all of their subjects. From that day forward, the kingdom prospered under their rule. The people flourished, the land thrived, and no one ever forgot the story of the brave prince and the beautiful princess whose love saved them all. And that, my little ones, is the story of Sleeping Beauty. What did you think? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Thanks for watching.